Imagine just standing in your living room, right? But instead of hardwood floors, the ground beneath you is actually a 320 million-year-old tropical seabed.
Mhm.
Or, picture sitting in this completely chaotic emergency room where an AI is just quietly piecing together a life-saving diagnosis, like way faster than the attending physicians.
Yeah. So welcome to episode 495 of AI Brief. And today we are taking a deep dive into the tech that's allowing us to map the invisible. We're covering everything from the ancient geological history of your exact address to a breakthrough depression implant to an AI handling the pure chaos of a live ER. And then we'll wrap up with the top trending tools that are fundamentally boosting modern productivity.
I mean, that medical AI stories is just the perfect place to start because what was once considered this, fascinating side experiment, it's officially crossing a major threshold into real-world viability. We're
Yeah.
basically watching a regulatory starting gunfire in real time. We really are. So let's just dive straight into that breakthrough. There was a major study led by researchers from Harvard and Beth Israel, published on April 30th, 2026, and it completely shifts the paradigm of what we expect from these diagnostic models. We're talking about OpenAI's O1 and O1 preview models being evaluated on incredibly complex diagnostic reasoning.
Right. And crucially, this model wasn't just taking some sanitized multiple choice textbook exam. It was actually evaluated on 76 real messy emergency department cases using the raw, completely unprocessed electronic health record data.
And that distinction between processed and raw data, that's the entire foundation of this achievement, because standard benchmarks usually just feed an AI a clean, bulleted list of symptoms.
Oh, exactly. Real electronic health records are notoriously fragmented. You've got like a triage nurse's hastily typed notes with typos, contradictory patient statements, lab results trickling in over hours, plus previous medical histories that might be completely irrelevant or, frankly, fatally important. Navigating all that noise is the true test of clinical reasoning.
It's like standard AI benchmarks are like taking a test in a quiet library, right?
Right.
But the data this AI processed is like trying to read a novel where half the pages are torn out, someone spilled coffee all over it, and three people are screaming conflicting summaries of the plot at you. But wait, I do have to push back a little. If the lab results contradict the nurse's notes, how does an AI resolve the truth? It doesn't have that human intuition to, look at a patient and know they're understating their pain.
Well, that is exactly where the O1 model's advanced reasoning pathways come in. Instead of taking the text at face value and just predicting the next word, the model generates internal chains of thought. It weighs probabilistic outcomes. So it recognizes the conflict in the data, forms a working hypothesis, and determines which piece of info is statistically more reliable based on, say, the patient's immediate vitals.
Which is wild. And it matched or even exceeded attending physicians in generating those early diagnoses and figuring out the next steps for patient management. It parsed the chaos exactly like a veteran ER doctor would when information is scarce.
Right. Which brings us to the most vital takeaway from the researchers here. They are being incredibly clear that this does not mean AI is ready to replace doctors.
Hmm.
I mean, no one is suggesting we hand over the keys to the hospital, but the technology has reached this level of capability where keeping it out of formal clinical trials in real care settings is starting to look irresponsible.
Yeah, the battleground is shifting entirely. We're not really debating capability anymore, whether the machine is smart enough. We're entering the era of accountability.
Exactly. The focus is firmly on safety guardrails now. We have to figure out how to prevent physician over-reliance on a highly fluent machine, right? How to spot hidden biases. And of course, how to answer that incredibly thorny legal question of who takes the blame when a confident, articulate AI makes a mistake that harms a patient.
The intelligence is there, but the infrastructure to manage it, that's what we have to build next. And I mean, the microscopic precision required to navigate the chaos of an ER is phenomenal. But moving beyond the emergency room, let's look at everything else in AI and science today. I'm going to hand the lead over to you to walk us through these macroscopic breakthroughs.
Sounds good. So, stepping out of the hospital and looking literally at the ground beneath your feet, Dutch scientists have launched a free online tool called Paleolatitude. It lets you trace the geological journey of any modern location on Earth back 320 million years to the era of the supercontinent Pangaea.
Wait, so if you type in your current address, you discover something totally alien about the ground you're standing on. You could be in a rainy European city today, but 320 million years ago, that exact piece of bedrock was baking in a tropical sun.
Exactly. You might find out your home was once a sprawling desert or like a volatile volcanic wasteland. But it's far more than just a novelty. It solves real geological mysteries by analyzing paleomagnetism, the magnetic signatures locked into ancient rocks.
Oh, wow. So it actually tracks the drift.
Right. For instance, the tool helped confirm that the Netherlands once sat at the exact same tropical latitude as today's Persian Gulf. Scientists were puzzled by these tropical fossil discoveries in northern Europe for years. This tool maps that drift perfectly.
That's incredible. And just as we're mapping the deep geological history of the planet, we're also getting better at mapping the deep circuitry of the human brain, right?
Yes, which brings us to our second major development. Motif Neurotech just got FDA approval to begin clinical trials for a device called DOT. It's a wireless brain implant designed specifically for treatment-resistant depression.
Okay, but there are already brain implants for that, right? What makes this one different?
The key distinction is the architecture. Traditional implants require penetrating the brain tissue itself, drilling deep into the cortex. That carries massive surgical risks. The DOT device is engineered to sit entirely above the brain tissue, resting securely on the dura.
Wait, if it doesn't penetrate the cortex, how does it reach the deep neural circuits that are actually responsible for depression?
It uses highly focused electromagnetic fields. Think of it almost like a wireless charger for specific neural pathways. It delivers targeted, programmable electrical stimulation safely through the protective layers of the brain. It's a huge beacon of hope for the nearly 3 million Americans with severe depression that doesn't respond to standard meds.
A less invasive approach just completely changes the accessibility of that kind of stimulation. But going from repairing the brain to rebuilding the physical skull, I understand our next update is about bone regeneration.
Yes, and using a very unexpected material. We're looking at a fundamental shift in orthopedic surgery. Scientists have successfully used keratin, a protein extracted from ordinary wool, to regenerate living bone. They tested this by implanting wool-based scaffolds into rats with skull defects.
Okay, I have to push back on this premise. A wool bone graft. The body is notoriously hostile to foreign materials.
Well-
If you put sheep's wool into a human or rat skull, wouldn't the immune system just immediately reject it?
Well, that's the genius of the engineering. They aren't just stuffing raw wool into a defect. They extract pure keratin and painstakingly strip away the specific proteins that trigger an immune response. So what's left is a biocompatible structural scaffold.
Ah, I see. Because traditionally, surgeons have used collagen for this kind of thing, right?
Right, but collagen has two major flaws. It's incredibly expensive to extract, and it breaks down too quickly under mechanical load, often before the new bone has fully formed.
So the pure keratin acts like a stronger, longer-lasting trellis for the bone cells to climb on.
Precisely. It produced significantly more structurally sound bone compared to collagen. And as a bonus, keratin is renewable, scalable, and currently discarded in massive quantities as farming waste.
We're literally taking agricultural runoff and turning it into a superior foundation for human bone repair. That is the ultimate form of upcycling.
Truly. And for our final science update, we're moving from microscopic scaffolds out into the massive ecosystems of the ocean. Scientists have deployed an autonomous underwater glider designed specifically to track sperm whale conversations in real time.
Oh, wow. So it's actively listening to them.
Yes, it uses directional hydrophones to listen for the distinct clicks sperm whales use to communicate. It calculates the exact direction of the sound, adjusts its buoyancy engine to glide silently, and then autonomously follows the same whale or family group for months at a time.
Tracking them for months completely changes the nature of the observation. You're no longer just dropping a microphone in the water for an hour and hoping a whale swims by.
Exactly. It changes everything about our understanding of their culture. It's documenting how calves actively learn complex vocal patterns from their mothers over time, and recording how they alter communication in response to human shipping. This marks a real transition from just observing animals to building continuous long-term relationships with another deeply complex intelligence.
When you step back and look at the sheer scale of these updates, it's dizzying. We are using modern tools to simultaneously peer 320 million years into our planet's geological past, while deploying gliders to listen to the unfolding culture of whales. It's just phenomenal.
The tools we've built are effectively expanding the sensory organs of the human race. We can perceive time, space, and intelligence in ways that were just biologically impossible a century ago.
Absolutely. So let's smoothly transition from world-changing scientific breakthroughs to immediate practical utility. We've got a lineup of today's top trending AI tools, and there is a fascinating thematic arc here. Starting at the foundation of a company, you have to establish your identity. That's where our first tool, Plurai, comes in.
Right, setting the tone from day one.
Exactly. Plurai focuses on vibe training evaluations and building strict guardrails. It lets you quantify a subjective vibe into a multidimensional vector space. So say you want your customer service chatbot to maintain a specific brand tone, whether that's empathetic, playful, or highly professional. It enforces those boundaries so the AI never breaks character.
It basically transforms brand voice from a vague marketing guideline into a strictly enforceable rule.
Yeah, and once your brand identity is secure, you need to hire the right people. That brings us to Clera, an AI agent designed to match candidates to the right roles. The ultimate use case here is for HR teams. Traditional tracking systems just scan for exact keywords, totally missing candidates with unconventional backgrounds.
Which is such a broken system.
Totally. Clera operates as an agentic intelligence. It understands contextual weight. It knows that managing a project team of 5 implies leadership, even if the resume doesn't say team lead. So HR teams can instantly filter thousands of resumes based on actual competence.
It evaluates the first resume and the 4,000th resume with the exact same level of contextual understanding.
Right. So with the team in place, you move to generating revenue. Tool number 3 is Orange Slice, which is built to automate the friction out of sales tasks. If you finish a high-stakes discovery call, Orange Slice automatically drafts customized follow-up emails based on the nuances of the conversation and instantly updates your CRM.
Because sales professionals want to spend their time building human relationships, not managing spreadsheets.
Which perfectly leads into marketing the product. Our 4th tool is Postiz, an agentic social media scheduler built specifically for AI personas like OpenClaw. If you're running an AI-driven brand, Postiz manages the entire posting schedule autonomously. You're giving an AI agent the keys to manage the calendar of another AI persona.
It's just wild to think about AI managing AI.
And alongside that, for visual marketing, we have Hera Launch. It's an AI video generator that creates studio-quality launch videos, so an indie developer or a solo founder can generate high-end cinematic promotional videos without hiring a film crew.
We're seeing the infrastructure adapt to the reality of autonomous content generation. These tools are building ecosystems for each other.
They really are. And finally, when the marketing is done and the sales are in, you have to report back to the board. Our final tool today is SureThing.io. This is an autonomous agent that communicates data results exactly like a human being. Your data science team can run a massive predictive model, and SureThing.io synthesizes that raw SQL output and explains the key business takeaways to non-technical executives in plain conversational language.
Looking at all 6 of these tools collectively, there's a clear unifying theme. They are systematically removing the daily friction of manual execution. By automating data entry, scheduling, video production, humans are allowed to step back. We're transitioning from being manual operators to being high-level directors.
It frees up the human mind to focus on the things only a human can do. And that basically brings us to the end of our journey today. When you step back and look at the sheer scope of what we've covered, you really see a world where the baseline of intelligence is rapidly expanding. We're mapping the complex reasoning of AI models in the ER. We're deploying autonomous sensors to decode the vocal learning of whales.
Intelligence, whether artificial or animal, is being understood and utilized at an unprecedented scale.
Which leaves us with a final thought to mull over. If an artificial intelligence can now navigate the messy realities of a human emergency room, and underwater gliders can decode the complex culture of whales, what does it mean for our own place in the world when we are no longer the only intelligence capable of understanding it?
It's a huge question. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. If you enjoyed the conversation, please make sure to follow the podcast and share it with someone who loves exploring the edge of what's possible.